Imagine standing in the middle of a Central European valley 40,000 years ago. A biting wind sweeps down from the massive ice sheets to the north, whistling through your thick fur cloak. There are no engines, no electric lights, only the crackle of dry wood in a limestone cave and the rhythmic breathing of your kin huddled around the fire. In your hand is not a smartphone, but a weathered piece of deer bone. With a razor-sharp piece of flint, you carefully carve a notch, then another, and another. You aren't drawing a bison for beauty, nor are you idling away the time. You are capturing a thought. You are attempting to speak to someone in the future, or perhaps to a stranger in the valley over who you have never met. For centuries, we have been taught that history began in Mesopotamia. We were told that writing was the product of glittering cities, invented by accountants tracking grain 5,000 years ago. But what if I told you that everything we know about the dawn of intellect might be off by tens of thousands of years? A new wave of archaeology is washing away the old history books. Strange symbols on bone and ivory from the Ice Age are telling a different story. That our ancestors were writing long before they knew how to farm, long before they built their first permanent homes. Today, we go back in time to find humanity's first code. The reason scientists are stunned lies in the systematic nature of these marks. If you see a scratch on a bone, it could be a butchery mark. If you see a vibrant painting, it is art. But when you see the exact same symbol, parallel lines intersected by a vertical stroke, or stacked ladder-like structures, repeated at sites hundreds of kilometers apart, it is no longer a coincidence. It is a convention. Recent analyses of 38,000-year-old artifacts across Europe have identified repeating motifs. This is the cognitive architecture of writing. For a symbolic system to exist, a community must agree. This mark carries this specific meaning. Why is this more significant than the famous bulls of Lascaux? Because art can be individual and emotional, but symbols are social and informational. Art is a scream. A symbol is a sentence. The shift from literal drawings of animals to abstract, repetitive marks shows that the human brain had performed a miraculous leap. The ability to externalize invisible concepts like time, territory, or spiritual agreements. We weren't just observing the world anymore. We were labeling it. If 38,000 years isn't enough to shock you, let us travel to Einhornhöhle, Unicorn Cave, in Germany. In 2021, archaeologists unearthed a foot bone from a giant extinct deer. It was dated to a staggering 51,000 years ago. On this bone is a complex cross-hatched chevron pattern. Experimental replication shows that to create these lines, the prehistoric engraver had to plan the sequence, prepare the surface, and execute the carves with immense patience. This wasn't the result of a bored afternoon. It was a design project. At this time, Europe was a contact zone. Neanderthals were still the masters of the landscape, while the first groups of Homo sapiens were just beginning to filter in. A fierce debate has raged for decades. Were Neanderthals intelligent enough to create symbols, or were they merely copying modern humans? But at Unicorn Cave, the line blurs. Whoever carved that bone possessed the conceptual imagination to turn a biological object into a vessel for abstract thought. This suggests the cognitive environment of Europe 50,000 years ago was already primed for symbolic explosion. It wasn't a sudden spark. It was a slow-burning fire, fueled by the interaction of two different human species. We often view prehistoric people as isolated bands wandering aimlessly, but the genetic data from the Ilsenhöhle cave in Ranis shatters that illusion. The people living there 45,000 years ago weren't desperate refugees. They were part of a massive, interconnected network. Look at the map. From the Levant, modern-day Middle East, and Qasr Aqil, through the Bacho Kiro cave in Bulgaria, and straight into the heart of Europe. This wasn't random migration. It was a cultural corridor. The sign systems we see at the 38,000-year mark didn't just sprout from nothing. They were the result of a flow lasting tens of thousands of years. Personal ornaments made of animal teeth, refined bone tools. These were part of a cultural package. Think of this like the evolution of software. Version 1.0 began in the Middle East 120,000 years ago with the use of red ochre in burials. Version 2.0 appeared in Bulgaria with sophisticated jewelry. And by version 3.0 in Germany and France, we see a fully realized proto-writing system. We aren't necessarily smarter than our ancestors. We are just running the software they spent thousands of generations debugging and upgrading. To understand why they had to write, let's look at a real-world example from modern hunter-gatherer societies studied in the last century, which mirror prehistoric conditions. In the Australian deserts, message sticks were carved with symbols to communicate information between groups separated by vast distances, notifying others of water sources or upcoming ceremonies. A messenger carrying the stick could pass through the territory of another tribe safely because the stick was a passport carrying a clear message. Back in the Ice Age, imagine a hunter at Ranis finding a piece of ivory on a trail with 5 vertical notches. To us, it's ancient trash. To him, it could be a warning. The bison herd passed here 5 days ago. Or, the northern tribe is requesting a trade for flint. There is a powerful true story in archaeology regarding the Lion Man found in Stadel Cave. It is a 40,000-year-old statue of a half-human, half-lion creature. It is estimated to have taken 400 hours of continuous work to carve. In a world where death was a constant threat from hunger or predators, spending 400 hours on something you cannot eat proves the power of shared belief. Symbols and signs were the glue that allowed thousands of strangers to cooperate. Without that early writing, Homo sapiens might have perished in the cold. We often take pride in our digital age, our computer codes and our vast libraries. But looking at the engraved bones of Unicorn Cave, or Ranis, teaches us a humbling lesson. The essence of being human is not found in the technology we possess, but in our desperate hunger to connect and to endure. Those Ice Age hunters understood that a human life is short, but information can be eternal. They were trying to mark their presence in the river of time. Writing didn't begin in magnificent palaces. It began with trembling fingers, cold to the bone, scratching deep marks into animal remains by the flickering light of a torch. It was the first victory of intellect over oblivion. The next time you type a message on your touchscreen, remember that you are performing an act with a 50,000-year tradition. You are continuing the legacy of the people at Ranis, the first ones who understood that a single mark could change the world. Our history is deeper, older, and more miraculous than the textbooks ever told us. We are not just a tool-using species. We are a symbol-making species. What do you think of these ancient codes? Should we officially call them writing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this journey into our origins fascinating, don't forget to like and subscribe as we continue to decode the mysteries of history. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next trip back through time.